What's going on, guys? Mad Lab here. You were in the main event breakdown brought to you by the Mayo Media Network. Very, very good card last week, minus the judging, I would say, correct? Before I do jump into this, we're going to talk about that, but I do want to let you know that this will be my final episode with Pat Mayo and the Mayo Media Network. I appreciate everything he's done for me. One of the nicest guys in the industry that I've ever met. Maybe the nicest. Without a doubt, top three. Just a good businessman, very on top of his game, cares about everybody, wants to help everybody out. The guy is just honestly one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the industry, ever met in general. So, Pat, I appreciate you very much. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to use this platform to spit some knowledge. And I'll always be here for anything you ever need. Um, I'm a phone call away for you, always. Um, so basically, what I'm doing is Pat was nice enough to allow me to say what I'm doing. I'm going to be going to another platform with a company called Bets TV, and basically what I'm going to be doing is we have a studio, like a legit studio, beautiful studio with producers in Irvine, so everything's going to be very high quality, and it's going to be 2 days a week. Once I get all those details, I will let you know. The reason why we didn't do it this week is because my business partner is in New Jersey, so we obviously have to be together for this. It's nothing that we can do on Zoom. We have desks where we sit next to each other and such like that. So I'm super, super excited about that. Just from the quality of our surroundings to the quality of sound to the quality of video, the multiple camera angles we're gonna have. Super, super psyched about that. We're gonna be doing a lot of good things. It's gonna be 2 days a week, which is going to be, obviously before the fight, and then what went right, what went wrong after on the turn of the week, which would probably be on Monday. And I believe that we will be doing our first episode next week when my business partner gets back. So super psyched about it. But I cannot thank Pat Mayo and the Mayo Media Network enough. The guy's got some of the most killer content out there. So please look at it all. We got football season coming up. We got basketball, golf, you name it, they got it. So I wish him nothing but the best, especially with his new studio and stuff that he's building out over there for, all the great content that he's putting out. So let's go back to last week and talk about all the people that kind of shit on me for my TJ Dillashaw take. And I haven't heard from them since. I've been hearing crickets from everybody. Everyone was supposed to come back after TJ lost, and I'll be back, and I'll leave a comment then, and everybody just kind of vanished. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm just going to say that a lot of the people that obviously did pick against TJ, they thought it was a robbery and it was a bad judging, and you think what you want. Fact of the matter is depending on the way you scored that fight, he either won or lost. And to me, I honestly, unbiasedly, I think he won that fight. I think he was the one pushing the pace. I think he was the one, allowing the fight to actually happen. And that's important. And if you're going to pull hairs with certain strikes just because maybe Corey landed two, three, four more strikes, that's ridiculous. Two, three, four, five, six more strikes doesn't equate to 5 rounds of constant pressure, constant pressure, constant. I'm bringing the fight to you. I'm bringing the fight to you. Strikes and significant strikes and all that stuff, they do count. But it depends on the number of variables you're dealing with. If you're cutting hairs, and if you looked at it, if you look at the metrics at the very end of the fight, I think it was the first time in history that the metrics were like dead even. So for all those that didn't want to come back to the platform and didn't want to chime in, eat your crow, and you can eat it silently. This week, not that excited. Excuse me. Not that excited about this fight. Really not. Not a great fight. Strickland's on a little bit of a rise. You got Uriah Hall, who is always dangerous. The thing with Uriah Hall is this: he comes from my area, and not my Orange County area, back in the East Coast. And Ring of Combat was very, very big. Still is. The UFC gets a lot of talent from Ring of Combat. Lou Neglia. You're getting Chris Weidman, Shane Burgos, pretty much all the TSK guys. Uriah Hall. So back in the day, you had Uriah Hall and Chris Weidman. They were the guys. Like those two guys were the guys. Chris Weidman with his wrestling and Uriah Hall obviously with his striking. They were always set to face. They never faced, and finally they did end up fighting each other. And Chris Weidman handed Uriah Hall his first loss. Now when you look at the landscape and the trajectory where they both went, you have Chris Weidman, who obviously became champion, and you have Uriah Hall, who's just kind of known as the guy from the Ultimate Fighter that had that crazy fucking wheel kick that everybody was like, he's going to be the next great thing. And the guy was athletic enough, the guy was powerful enough, the guy had, good diversity in all of his limbs. And he was a scary dude. Uriah Hall was a scary dude. He was the talk of the town back in the day. Like everything was Uriah. There was a couple guys. There was Uriah Hall, obviously, Chris Weidman. There was Dante Rivera, who was actually a really good fighter. There was a couple guys back then who just they were the guys, and it seems to me that Chris Weidman hit a little bit of a stroke of luck, right? I mean, if you think about it, he got the belt. Some of his wins are very questionable. They were off injuries and just people showboating and stuff like that. I think he's a very good fighter, but I think he is a product of a little bit of luck. And then you had, Uriah Hall, who is just his mental game was just all over the place. I remember when he was in the Ultimate Fighter, he was actually discussing with Chael Sonnen about mental blockage and mental breakdown and stuff like that. And this is when he was like the shit. So there was always something there with him. There was always like a mental block with him, where some fights he would pull the trigger and other fights he wouldn't. So that's always something that's kind of can hinder your fighting career. It doesn't take away from your talent. Doesn't mean you're not a great fighter. It just means there's something there that sometimes puts a roadblock and stops you from, really hitting the pinnacle that you can hit. Then you got somebody like Sean Strickland, who now, he took a little bit of time off. He's back. He's making waves in the UFC. He's obviously making a lot of noise, he inside and outside of the cage. I mean, when he fought Jack Marshman, you heard him saying, "Why aren't you falling, Jack? Why aren't you falling, Jack?" He's got that brash, cocky way about him. Um, and it works, and it's been working, and the guy's on a little bit of a run, but he hasn't fought the most stellar of competition. I would say that Uriah Hall, by far, is the most talented striker he's ever going to face. And his style is going to it's either going to help him or really, really hurt him in this matchup. Because if you ever watch Sean Strickland fight, Sean Strickland will come out and he kind of just like feels his way. This is his way of using his reach. Like people wonder, and what he's doing when he's doing this is he's pretty much blocking your paths to strike. So he's not giving you that straight look. He's kind of being like a mosquito. He's pestering your paths and pestering your lanes, and that's what he does, and that's how he stays safe, and that's how he just kind of gauges things, and then he'll just come off and he'll start popping there. So it's not like he pops with a ton of power. He does keep his hand up when he's backing out, and you'll see him and he'll throw some looping shots and stuff. So he kind of picks and chooses when he uses his power. But for the most part, when he kind of hunts you down, he kind of just reaches out almost like a Frankenstein to just to disrupt your lanes, disrupt your paths. It kind of takes away that center line where you have to find and create your openings. And that's fine and good. But when you got someone like Uriah Hall who throws very dynamic kicks, very dynamic punches, he's not afraid to do certain things. That can disrupt what you're trying to do. So he's not a traditional style fighter, Uriah Hall. He's a little bit more of a traditional, tied in with, very good athletic ability and dynamic movements. And that's what made him really good. But if you look at this fight, if you're looking for like this war, you're probably not going to get it here. Probably not going to get like this big fucking war like you had with T.J. Dillashaw in the last fight. It's these guys are going to be a little bit more um, patient, a little bit more economical with their movements. You're going to get Strickland, who's kind of going to reach out a little bit, and he's going to kind of really play it safe because he knows he's got those spinning back kicks and stuff like that. Then you got Uriah Hall, who historically kind of you could really just back him up despite whether you're pushing hard or you're pushing light. Like he will agree to your terms. The problem with Uriah Hall is he is a little bit chinny. Like I've seen him rock numerous occasions, but in some of his fights when he fought like Paulo Costa and stuff, he showed pretty decent durability. So it's almost like that Andre Arlovsky effect. When Andre Arlovsky was getting starched for so long, then all of a sudden he came back and he just like had this reborn chin. It comes kind of fight to fight with Uriah Hall. Sometimes he looks super durable, and sometimes he just doesn't look that durable. I am going to pick Strickland to win this fight. I just think that momentum plays a very big key uh, in fighting, and I think that the way he approaches fights, the way he talks to you, the way he does things in there, I think that mental breakdown of Uriah Hall can start creeping in. He'll get frustrated. He can't find the right lanes. Strickland's still coming forward. Maybe he hits Strickland, and Strickland kind of just like chews it off. I do think that Strickland, is going to be tested. I think his chin is going to be tested. It's going to be very interesting, and Uriah Hall can knock anybody out. But I just think from a technical standpoint, I just think he's going to be able to get to the shots a little more. Whether he's pitter pattering shots or just dictating the terms, I think you're going to see Sean Strickland the one kind of dictating what's going on, and that's probably going to make it for kind of a sluggish fight. To be quite honest with you, if you want to sit down, you want to look at the DraftKings end of it. Let me pull up my notes here. Um, you know, both of these guys have the ability to finish each other. Okay. I would dare to say that Uriah Hall is the guy that can spark you in one shot. He could spark you with a kick. He could spark you with your punch. You're going down. Where Sean Strickland is more going to do it on just kind of being that mosquito, kind of just getting to you, getting to you, getting to you until you're starting to buckle, and then he'll put it on you. So when you look at these prices, Strickland at 9,300, Hall at 6,900, Uriah Hall holds a lot of value no matter where this fight goes, what time, what round. He holds a lot of value. It's a 5-round fight. He just has to win. It doesn't have to be knockout in the first round, second round, third. He just has to kind of win the fight, and he's going to cover his value. So 6,900 to me is a little disrespectful to him. So the value, I mean, if you really want to look at the value end of it, the value end of it is on Uriah Hall. As far as Strickland, 9,300, this is a guy who, like I said, I don't see him coming in like a barn burner who's just going to come in and try to take Hall's head off. He's going to do things strategically. He's going to feel him out. He's going to kind of pitter patter him, see what he's giving him, see what he's not giving him, making his adjustments and stuff. That's a little bit of a dangerous price tag, 9,300. However, I do think Strickland has the opportunity to finish him late. So depending on which way the fight goes, what kind of tempo both of these guys set is really going to dictate if Strickland can cover or will cover his value. I don't see him knocking out Hall early. I don't see him putting it on Hall early. I see him kind of just having that laid back, feel out fight, throwing punches here. Both of them are kind of just respecting each other and respecting each other's power. And I think that's the way this fight's going to boil down. But where Hall, it doesn't matter what happens. As long as Hall wins the fight, he covers. So you got to be a little bit more mindful if you're rostered Strickland. I am picking Strickland. I think Strickland wins the fight, and I think his upside is probably going to be either a late round, a late into the fight finish, or a decision. But you got to be careful with that. And as far as Hall, like I said, it's value. He's value at 6,900. So you got to kind of play this both ways. My lean is Strickland. As far as Vegas, as far as a bet, I will have no bet on this fight. I'm going to just sit back and watch it. There's no value on Strickland. I don't think Hall's going to win the fight. Depending on which way this fight goes, I don't know if there's going to be enough pressure to get a finish. So I'm just going to sit back and watch it. I think you should too. Enjoy.